Hey, it's Baz, filmmaker, dad, and the guy behind 20 Minute Gamer. Today, I'm hopping on the saddle for a relaxing ride into Wheel World, a brand new game from the folks over at Annapurna Interactive, a studio that's already earned a bit of a reputation for crafting beautiful, meaningful indie games that are both accessible and emotionally resonant. I first spotted Wheel World through some eye-catching screenshots online, and I'm pretty sure I saw the trailer on Instagram a while back too. It instantly stood out to me. Something about the colours, the tone, and the general chill vibe just popped a wheelie in my brain and made me take notice. I've always loved games that allow me to slow things down and unwind, especially after a packed day running between client shoots, editing, chasing the kids around, or attempting to clean the house while my dog watches in judgment. This game promised a kind of Zen-like exploration, and frankly, I was ready to freewheel into something calm. As I'm getting older, I've also started to find a new appreciation for cycling. There's something very appealing about the freedom of it. And the idea of building and upgrading your own bike to travel through a stylized world, that definitely put the wind in my tyres. So let's find out. Does Wheel World shift into gear in its opening 20 minutes, or does it coast too slowly out of the gate? Story. The narrative gets rolling right away without dragging its feet. You wake up as a character who finds themselves in a strange, painterly world and pretty quickly stumble upon a busted up old bike. But this is no ordinary bike. It's got a ghost in the machine, quite literally. A spirit lives inside it and they're understandably gutted that their beloved frame is in bits. They explain that the bike once helped them travel between the spirit world and the moon, and that until it's repaired, their journey is stuck in the spokes. So off you go, cycling your way around a small island as the gears of the story start turning. You soon meet a local bike gang, and after a brief conversation, they challenge you to a race. Win that, and the bridge unlocks, revealing a much larger island with 4 famous cyclists, each holding a different part of your broken bike. The structure is fairly clear. Race and beat these 4 riders, retrieve the parts, and help the spirit bike complete its final journey. But what's really impressive is how much of this setup is communicated quickly and without any friction. There's only one real cutscene, and the rest comes through breezy dialogue boxes that never slow you down. Despite being rich in world building and lore, it all feels light, fun, and easy to follow, kind of like a gentle downhill coast after a long uphill push. I expected this to be a purely relaxing game with very little narrative, but there's a surprising amount of story tread on these tyres. And crucially, it's delivered in a way that made me want to keep riding forwards, not hit the brakes. Score, 8 out of 10. Controls. Let's talk about how it handles, because the first thing I noticed was just how satisfying it is to control the bike. You can move around on foot or mount your bike at any time, and once you're on, the controls are beautifully intuitive. Right trigger to accelerate, left to brake, and a spirit boost button that gives you a burst of speed when charged. You top that up by doing jumps or tricks, which gives the game a little more arcade flair beneath its calm exterior. One of my favourite moments came early on when I pedalled up a hill and then coasted down the other side, and I swear I grinned like a kid again. It just feels right. Something about the momentum, the sound design, and the responsiveness of the bike all clicked into place. It's not often a game nails that feeling of freedom and speed, but Wheel World nails it from the start. That said, there are a few minor bumps in the road. One strange moment saw me crossing a bridge, only for the controls to stop responding completely. I thought something was broken, but then the camera pulled back to reveal the title. But it was a bit jarring in the moment. I also found that trying to navigate slowly while still mounted was a bit clunky. Sometimes you need to dismount just to have a simple chat or turn around, which can interrupt the flow. Still, those are very small issues. Overall, the game handles like a dream. Not overly complex, but fun to ride, with a clear potential for upgrading and improving your ride later. Score, 7 out of 10. Atmosphere. This is where Wheel World really shifts into a higher gear. The atmosphere is wonderfully crafted, calm and vibrant and full of character. From the moment you begin, the world feels alive. Cyclists ride past on their own errands, farms roll by in the distance, little towns and villages emerge from the hills, and it all just feels real. Not in a photorealistic way, but in the way that matters, the kind that makes you want to stay for longer, to explore just a little bit further and to see what's around the next bend. I expected something more solitary, to be honest, even a bit melancholic, but instead I felt like I'd rolled into a thriving world where everyone had somewhere to go. Every field, forest or side street felt connected. It didn't take long for me to lose track of time. In fact, when my 20 minutes were up, I was genuinely surprised. I was so absorbed in the ride that I forgot that I was supposed to be reviewing the game. There's no greater compliment than that. Score, 8 out of 10. Music and sound. Sound design in Wheel World is another area where it glides effortlessly. There's no voice acting, so all the storytelling has to be supported by music, environmental sounds, and sound effects, and it absolutely delivers. Everything from the crunch of gravel to the soft hum of tyres on tarmac is textured and believable. The sound of your bike reacts to different terrain, which helped ground me in the world even more. The ambient soundscape starts out with a kind of dreamy, otherworldly forest tone that made the game feel alien, but not in a scary way, more in a peaceful, mysterious one. Then the music kicked in. It's a blend of relaxed, ethereal tracks for wandering and upbeat, catchy tracks that play when you're racing or exploring at speed. The music doesn't just play, it flows in and out of your actions. Menus don't cut it off, transitions feel smooth, and the game maintains a steady beat that makes even the small moments feel very exciting. The soundtrack genuinely motivated me to cycle faster, to take jumps I might have otherwise ignored, and it helped turn a casual ride into something almost cinematic. It's not just a good soundtrack, it's good game design. Score 9 out of 10. Graphics and style. Visually, Wheel World is riding tall. The cel-shaded aesthetic is bold, colourful, and full of personality. It reminded me a bit like a Studio Ghibli film crossed with Sable or Journey. It's not aiming for realism, and that's its strength. Instead of chasing the high number of polygons, it crafts a visual identity that feels warm and welcoming. In just 20 minutes, I rode through an autumnal forest, a rocky mountain top, a sprawling city, a Mediterranean coastal area, and even a tranquil farm zone. That's more variety than some games manage in their entire runtime. And the detail. I loved how cycling imagery was baked into the world itself. You'll see handlebars used as part of architecture, tyres hanging like wind chimes, and landmarks that hint at past cyclist journeys. Characters are simple, almost puppet-like, but full of charm. Their slightly strange faces only add to the dreamlike quality, and when it comes to interface design, Wheel World gets top marks. Things like slipstream and behind riders are communicated visually, a few light trails or subtle cues, without ever breaking immersion with chunky overlays or pop-ups. If they'd gone for realism, it might have lost the magic, and as it stands, this is a world I'm more than happy to get lost in. Score 8 out of 10. Gameplay. The gameplay loop is classic open world, but with a twist of Zen. You explore, race, find chests, gain rep, upgrade your bike, and unlock new areas. It's a familiar structure, but executed with a sense of ease and flow that really suits the tone. What surprised me most was just how quickly I was riding freely. Most open world games take at least 20 minutes just to finish the prologue or tutorials, but Wheel World lets you hit the ground rolling almost immediately. After a very short intro, I was already zipping through forests and side roads, getting a genuine taste of the game. There are races and light challenges, but you don't have to do them. You can just cruise if you want to, and that, for me, is what really sold it. I only completed one fairly easy race in my 20 minutes, but it felt like the tutorial, something to ease you in. If you want to chase upgrades and complete objectives, then it's there. But if you just want to drift along and clear your head for a bit, then that's totally fine too. It's rare to find a game that really lets you set your own pace so early on. Score 8 out of 10. Without a doubt, the moment that stuck with me the most was when I first properly hit the road. I was pedaling up a hill, got to the top, and then just coasted down the other side, with the sound of the tyres on the path and a light breeze soundscape whizzing past. I genuinely forgot that I was actually just sitting at my desk. It was one of those rare moments in gaming where the atmosphere, sound, and mechanics come together perfectly and you're just there. Final verdict, is this worth 20 minutes? You can probably tell I had a really good time with this one. Wheel World delivers exactly what it promises and does so with style, confidence, and care. It lets you get straight into the ride, gives you space to breathe, and wraps it all up in a world that feels lovingly built. It's the kind of game that you can dip into when you're short on time or settle in for a longer ride. Whether you're chasing a narrative or just want to cruise through a chill fantasy world, it totally delivers. The only folks I don't think this will click with are perhaps those looking for deep RPG systems or ultra-competitive racing and things like that. But for everyone else, especially those who want to spin their wheels in distress, it's a joy, even in those first 20 minutes. Final score, 8 out of 10. What do you think? Are you up for the ride? Does Wheel World sound like your kind of relaxing getaway, or do you prefer games with a bit more competition in the chainring? Let me know below. If you're anything like me, you don't have hours and hours to sink into every game, and that's why I test whether a game can hook you in just those first 20 minutes. And I'll see you on the next ride.